So as we kind of sort of wrap up, I would love to hear what you learned about the Mississippi Chinese. I think leaving these particular conversations off with a little bit of historical nuggets for people to check out would be really, really great.
Yes. I didn't know about it, and it was never talked about in history class, and I learned about it through the Yellow Jacket Collective, which is an Asian American activist collective that I found online. They did an excellent lecture on the legacies of care and the history. And from there, I learned about history of contamination and our relationship to like diseases or biological terrorism or whatever you want to name it throughout the history. And I learned about the Mississippi Chinese, and it's really hard to research about it because there's like stuff that isn't like really talked about, especially the part where like after the Civil War, the Chinese people, a lot of Chinese people moved to the Mississippi Delta to find work. It was also when a lot of slaves are being freed. So a lot of white owners don't have slaves to do their labor anymore. And they started looking into the Chinese community and using them basically as like indentured servants. And a lot of Chinese did come to pick cotton. And then after a while, I think, of course, that didn't work out. And they started going into grocery stores. So nowadays, you can see a lot of grocery stores around the Mississippi Delta that are from those times. And it was also a way for like white people to use Chinese people to pit them against Black people, right? There's just a lot happening there that we need to look at because it's a time where like being yellow, being Asian is being situated between Black and whiteness. And that's when we can observe like the complexity of being white adjacent and also like anti-Black, and at the same time also having experiences that relate to Blackness, discrimination against like, people of color. So there's a lot that happened there. There's a movie that talks a little bit more about it called From Shanghai to Harlem. So you can look that up. It talks about Mississippi Delta, but it also talks about like fetishization and erasure of Chinese women in that time.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that happened in the South. They like demanded that Chinese folks create their own schools. So I mean, there's a legacy of Asian Americans who have protested, particularly through lawsuits and law. Because I took an Asian American in the law course, and the professor brought out a book that was like fat, and he was like, "This is like just volume 1, like 5 or 6 of the different types of cases that Asian Americans have brought to the Supreme Court to try and contest, obviously, discriminatory laws." So it's, again, I can't emphasize enough how much it's there, but we're not intentionally taught it because that is intentional.
Yeah, and we haven't even talked about Yellow Peril today and the Red Scare and all the shit that happened, against Asian and Chinese people throughout history that, we have to do a lot of digging on.